We have people do all kinds of crazy things to get customers taken care of. And I know a lady was in the checkout line at Walmart and her debit card wouldn't work one day. And a lady that runs our debit card department got the cash out of her account for her with the customer's permission, of course, and drove that to Walmart and delivered it to the customer. I mean, we just do whatever it takes to get the customer taken care of. And I think that's unique in today's banking environment.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our meeting. I'd like to introduce Pastor Kevin Decker for the Polk Street Methodist Church, who will open our meeting with an invocation.
Would you pray with me? We thank you, God, for this day, and we thank you for our city and for the blessing of having strong leaders who seek you and your will in their decisions. We pray for your continued guidance on all matters before this commission today. We pray that your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We pray for this city to be a haven of blessing and a place of peace for all who live here. We pray for the citizens of Amarillo to be in unity of mind and purpose according to your perfect will. Help us to surrender our self-interest in exchange for your master plan and direction. Let the peace of Christ rule in our hearts. And all gathered here today, as each item on the agenda is presented, may all we do glorify your holy name. We pray these things in the name of Jesus Christ and for his sake. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. If you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Amarillo City Commission held on the third floor at City Hall most Tuesdays at 3 p.m. First item of business today is the agenda. On the agenda is the minutes. Attached or copied the minutes, and we have a revised set of minutes that were passed out for a couple of meetings with a small correction. And is there any comment from the commission about the
Mayor?
motion?
If I could, I would move the approval of the minutes, including the corrections to the meetings on July the 11th and July the 14th. Well, yeah, this would include minutes as presented for the 9th and 12th, the corrected minutes for the 11th and the 14th. That would be my motion.
Second.
Second the motion, Mayor.
We have a motion and a second to accept the minutes as presented and as amended. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with a 5-0 vote. Okay, the first item of business on the agenda is ordinance number 7283. This is the first reading of an ordinance amending section 16-4-124K of the Amarillo Municipal Code regarding unauthorized passengers and taxi cabs. This amendment was requested and authorized the carrying of non-paying passengers in a cab under certain listed conditions. Do we have any comment from the commissioners about this ordinance? Any from the audience? Yes, sir.
Listen,
If you could give me your name and address.
Jack Jewett, 5400 Keystone. I own Jack and Son Taxi. I noticed the last 4 words of that said, under certain listed conditions. As far as I knew, there wasn't going to be any listed conditions on a free ride.
Well, in the wording, I think there are some prescribed. Did you get a copy of the wording?
I didn't get anything, sir.
Okay. Could I ask our city attorney to go over that?
I just thought that people might know because usually under a free ride, it'd be like having a condition for everything that you do if you got in. A lot of times, we have to make a choice at a moment's notice.
Let me read these to you, and then we'll see if the city attorney needs to comment, if you need that comment. It says, unauthorized persons, drivers of a taxi cab shall not allow any non-paying person to ride in a taxi cab other than for training purposes, limited to a trainer and new driver or drivers, a voluntary program by the taxi cab company that requires drivers to transport a non-paying person who is age 18 or older or younger, in parentheses, and accompanied by a qualified adult as follows, and who at the time of the ride, and who is at the time of the ride either impaired, indigent, or needy, or a person with a disability, in accordance with the other terms and conditions the company may prescribe that are not inconsistent with this section. The subsection does not require any driver or taxi company to offer such a program. So there had to be some qualifications then. I think you'd agree that.
Well, I understand. I just want to make sure, because we have a lot of church members and stuff from several different congregations and different religions that we've hauled for free for years also, you know, for Wednesdays.
Didn't qualify anything like that out of it, Mr. Wood,
Right.
so.
I just want to make sure that our people, I believe you're doing a great job. I just want to make sure our people are taken care of.
Great. Are you satisfied with what we read?
If what you say is what I say, I mean, it's a lot longer before, I just want to make sure that our people are taken care of. Because a lot of times in the middle of the night, we have to make a choice. And if that person really needs, we want to be able to take care of them.
Okay, but we have not encumbered that at all.
Great.
Okay.
God bless you, sir.
Okay. Okay, are there any other questions about this ordinance? I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move approval of ordinance number 7283.
Second. We have a motion and a second for ordinance number 7283. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes with a 5-0 vote. Resolution public hearing. This resolution sets the date of August 9th for a public hearing on substandard structure and solid waste accumulation on property located in the city. City manager, can you go over those properties for us, please?
Certainly, very glad to. If you would direct your attention to the screens, you'll see the two properties in question are indicated by the red stars. You have the property on the bottom left at 1014 Northwest 3rd Avenue. You have the parcel that's described as being between, say, 16th or 18th? 16th and Northeast 24th Avenue along North Hay Street. Would note, Mayor, for the record, there is not a street address to that parcel. Such address has never been assigned by the appraisal district. So you have that definition there, and then inside of your resolution, it contains the actual legal description for the property. The item before you today does not order the demolition, etc. of this. It merely sets August the 9th, 2011 as the date on which you will conduct a public hearing. At that point, number one, hopefully the owners have had an opportunity to remedy the conditions. If they have not, you will be provided with photographs of either or both of those two properties. The owners will have an opportunity to represent themselves before you, and you will then ultimately make a decision as to the disposition of the property.
Okay, any questions from the commission about these two properties? From the audience? I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move that we proceed with a public hearing on August 9th for parcels in the vicinity of Northeast 15th and Northeast 24th along North Hay Street.
All those in favor?
And
Excuse me, second. I'm sorry. Pardon me. Second. We have a motion and a second. Excuse me.
if I might add, Commissioner Reeves, does that motion include the second property, the one at 1014 Northwest 3rd?
Let me modify that. You can give me another second if that's true. The first property is in the vicinity of Northeast 15th and Northeast 24th along North Hayes. The second property being 1014 Northwest 3rd Avenue.
Excellent.
Okay, and I second that.
Thank you. A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes with a 5-0 vote. Number 4, resolution public hearing for approval of the 2011-2012 annual action plan for the Consolidated Plan for Housing and Community Development. This resolution conducts a final public hearing to allow interested parties to comment on the proposed activities and authorize the City of Amarillo's submission of the 2011-2012 annual action plan for the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The annual action plan recommends the allocation of $3 million, that's a lot of money, $3,011,779 for the Community Block Grant Program and Home Investment Partnership Program. This federal funding will provide for programs, services, and projects which benefit low and moderate income residents of our community. The annual action plan is recommended for approval by the Community Development Advisory Committee. Are there any comments from the commission about this action? Are there any comments from the audience? Mr. Allen, would you like to comment at all about the work that's been done?
Thank you.
You give your name and address.
I'll certainly do that. My name is James Allen. I'm chairperson of the Community Development Advisory Committee, address PO Box 1534, Amarillo, Texas. Mr. Mayor, commissioners, city manager, and staff, it's been an honor for me to work with you under your guidance and leadership over the years as far as how to help make decisions as to how to allocate HUD funding to the city of Amarillo to address various needs. I think over the history of HUD funding that we've received in Amarillo, we've received in excess of $80 million directly to the city of Amarillo, plus all the leveraging that's done so well into the hundreds of millions of dollars that this has affected the lives in the way of life here in the city of Amarillo. So it's been a great project. I wanted to recognize, if you don't mind, a couple of people before I go through the allocations, just so that you can understand the hard work that they've gone through. The first group I'd like to stand would be, we have 11-member committee, and some of our committee members were able to make it today, so I'd like for the members of the Community Development Advisory Committee to stand and just be recognized, please. These folks have volunteered a lot of hours. We've conducted several public meetings, done bus tours, looked at applications, done our homework in order to help make these recommendations to you today. So they've volunteered and have been a great asset to the city of Amarillo. Secondly, I'd like to recognize, we're not going to bring the Community Development Department upstairs because they're busy taking care of some of these projects that are already going on from past years, but the Community Development Department here in the city of Amarillo, I think, has probably as big of an impact on low or moderate income persons of any city department, any one entity in the city of Amarillo, and they've done it for years and done a great job, kind of not really known to the public. The agencies know about them, but the general public doesn't know. And I know we have Dion Kaufman. I'm not sure who else from the Dion, would you stand? Anybody else from the Community Development came out? This is one of the leaders in that department, and they have done a tremendous job for this city for years and years, and I think they should be recognized also. Just one other recognition before I go over our recommendations to you. I would like, just so you'll know the impact of what these dollars go through, I would like for anyone that's here that's an applicant or here because of these recommendations just to stand so the city commission can know. Expects a lot of people in Amarillo. Thank you. They're really the ones that do the hard work. We just try to make some decisions to give them a little funding, but they're the ones that actually deliver the services. And like I said, without these people, these agencies doing the things they do in Amarillo, I venture to say we would not be the great city that we are right now. So they deserve a lot of recommendation. I'll go through the recommendations real quickly. I know we were able to go through them in pre-session, and if any questions, I'll be more than happy to try to answer. If I can't, one of our committee members will be, or maybe staff, so we'll do our very best. Under park improvements, we are recommending funding for the Hamlet Park splash pad in the amount of $180,000. Under building safety, community improvement inspector, $56,467. Demolition and clearance, $40,000. Under public services, which does have a HUD cap of $318,558, we recommend funding to Jan Warner Adult Daycare Center, $25,000. Catholic Family Services Interfaith Hunger Project, $23,000. Transportation for the Homeless, $9,000. Guy and Saunders Day Room, $37,938. Maverick Boys and Girls Club After School Services, $21,000. Maverick Boys and Girls Club Summer Program, $15,062. Panhandle Regional Planning Commission Child Care Initiative, $100,000. Panhandle Regional Planning Commission Area Agency on Aging Food Net, $25,000. Westland Community Center Families in Crisis Counseling, $17,558. Those are our recommendations in the public services category. Under neighborhood improvements, Amarillo Habitat for Humanity classroom remodel, $50,000. Amarillo Senior Citizens Kitchen renovation, $134,000. Downtown Women's Center Abbott House renovation, $192,237. YMCA North Branch renovation, $50,000. Under the owner-occupied housing improvements emergency repair grants, $452,314. Housing rehabilitation assistance minor program, $100,000. Rehabilitation support administration, $150,437. Under planning and management, program management, $324,745. Total community development block grant funds of $2,123,758. Under the home investment partnership program, home administration, $710,366. I'm sorry, $88,802. I sure they wish they had that much. Home buyers assistance, $250,000. Housing rehab assistance, $200,000. Rental rehabilitation, $171,564. Under the community housing development organization projects, Amarillo Habitat Glenwood Edition, $30,000. Amarillo Habitat Park Hills Edition, $30,000. Catholic Family Services Multifamily Unit, $73,254. Community Housing Development Organization Operating Assistance, Amarillo Habitat, $22,200. Catholic Family Services, $22,201. Those are our recommendations for funding. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to work with you and work under your guidance, and the City of Amarillo should be very, very thankful for the guidance that the City Commission has provided this committee over the years, and we appreciate being a partner here.
Mayor, a question to James, because I think
Did I mistake something?
you missed a couple.
Oh, boy.
The allocation to the Texas Panhandle Regional Development Corporation up there.
I sure did.
Microloan.
I sure did. Thank you.
$75,000. And then down here, let me get
That's why we have pre-session, so I have more eyes.
the Salvation Army, the mattress and bed replacement of $33,000.
That is absolutely correct, and those are items that are on our list, and I apologize for overlooking those.
I thought it was
It's age.
because what we're going to be asked to include, if we so choose, is the list
Exactly.
as presented.
Exactly.
Okay. Any other questions for James? I'd like to comment, we may get other comments from the audience, but I have to tell you, James Allen has served on this board since 1989. There's probably people in this room. Born yet. And, so for those of you born after 1989, would you stand up? Okay, nobody's going to stand up. That's the most I'm going to be able to embarrass you. And I noticed that our servant, our city worker, was reticent to stand up and take any acknowledgement. I would tell you that this board does more work for our community than I would say any other board that affects more lives. They have a difficult problem each year because they are asked to fund with $1 million less than what's available, wonderful programs that aren't necessarily graded out, but they may not be a fit for what they can do. They meet unbelievable demands in our community and enhance our community tremendously. And I would ask you, didn't you say you were cut 10% last year?
We were actually cut 15% this current year.
And thinking next year.
Another 10, we're hoping just 10%, not more. So our challenges are going to become greater.
And that is before we deal with what the federal government is going to deal out after August 2nd. So we don't know where that will be, but I will tell you, these people don't let that dissuade their ability to work and decide and discern and work with agencies. And so, while some agencies don't get exactly what they want, I think everybody here respects the job that you do. We thank you. And your committee.
Thank you so much.
Great work, and good job, good results.
Are there any other comments from the floor? Any other? Yes, please. You come up and give your name and address, please.
I'm Janet Byers, 1001 South Polk. I'm with Family Support Services. I'm Paula Ward, the former Director of Guidance and Counseling for Amarillo ISD, 7200 I-40 West.
Thank you.
I want to second what you said about thanking the committee for their work. We appreciate James and all the committee members for everything that they've done. Family Support Services has submitted a request for $17,743 for 2 part-time counselors to do groups in the schools in 10 of the lowest income elementary schools in Amarillo in the target area. And these groups would be provided for children who had been at risk or had been abused. And they, the reason that we submitted this request has several factors. Part of it is what we're seeing at the agency with the number of families needing help. It's also based on our long-term relationship with AISD and our ability to provide groups in the schools that work as a partnership with our counselors and an AISD counselor. So we wanted to make sure that that was brought forward and that y'all had a chance to maybe reconsider funding this project at some level. Last year in the Panhandle of 2010, there were 2,000 cases of confirmed abuse and neglect of children, and 6 of those cases resulted in death. 33% of girls and 16% of boys are going to experience sexual assault before their 18th birthday. And these are the issues that we deal with at Family Support Services all the time. And the thing that we're not able to do at the agency a lot of times is get these kids together in a way that we can serve them the best, because the research does show that group counseling is the most effective way to help these kids. And by going into the schools and doing them, we're meeting them where they are, we have the consent of the parent, and we're able to help them in the way that they need to be helped. And I have Paula Ward here. She's the one that we talked to when we talked about doing this project, and so she's here to say a few words also.
I've had a relationship with Family Support Services for over 20 years. They've helped us in so many ways. As you know, in the last 20 years, children's needs have changed. And we see so many children now that live with grandparents raising grandchildren. And at the time the grandparents get these kids, they've been abused and neglected, and then they're dumped into the grandparents' lap. And the grandparents are saying, I don't know how to help them. And a lot of times they don't have the means for counseling, outside counseling. They don't have the means for insurance for these kids because they're really just dumped on them. We have a lot of foster kids. We have kids living with aunts and uncles, different things like that. That's one of the biggest needs right now. If we were to get these groups into the schools, I can guarantee you 2 things. We would have parent permission, which would probably be the guardian. And then the second thing is that we would definitely have the school counselor or another AISD employee present at all times. Now, how can you ensure confidentiality in a group? You can't, but we do everything we can to ensure it. And one of the things is that we talk to the students and impress that upon everyone. And with 2 counselors in the room, we know how to deal with an outcry. Now, is an outcry bad? No, because a lot of times we need someone to outcry. We need those kids to talk to us. And then if they do, we know how to stop that, intervene, and then someone take the child for more in-depth counseling. But in the last 20 years, Roller Coasters has been provided from Family Support Services. It's a divorce group, and it's a group setting. They've provided us groups with personal safety, and we've had a lot of outcries from that, and I've never had one complaint, ever, from a parent saying that confidentiality was broken. If a child has been abused, neglected, all of these things, a child can't learn until you intervene and take care of those needs. So I really would appreciate any reconsideration for funding this very important project for our students.
Could you answer a question for me? I noticed that in the last 2 budget years, there wasn't any allocation. How were you able to fund those services in the last 2 budget years?
This is a brand new project that's an extension of what we're already doing. These groups, we've not been able to do the groups for abused children in the school up till this time. And, you know, it's based on our relationship and our prior experience with the divorce group, but it's a pilot project. And so the funding that we're asking for is for the counselors, and then the agency still provides the oversight, the training, all the things for implementation and administration of the program. But it is new, so we want to get it going.
Commissioner Eads has a question.
I was just wondering, do you have any other sources of funding for that project currently?
No, we don't. We were hoping that the block grant funds would help us to begin it, and then to collect the data and the outcomes and to see how successful it is. And then with that information, we'll go to another funder and be able to request that we get that.
And this might be for James. I noticed that the Wesley Community Center Families in Crisis, is that is there some redundancy there in terms of counseling? Is because they were funded. I just wondered if you know.
Well, yes, that is a counseling service. We have not funded that service prior. This is the first time for that.
James, come to the mic.
Okay, sorry.
And
I didn't want to step.
No, that's okay.
Again, those are the hard choices that we have to make. Yes, we think counseling is very important. Again, that's an 11-member committee, and honestly, the democratic process prevails. Each person looks at all the projects and votes their conscience, and in this particular case, the committee recommended funding for the Wesley counseling services as compared to family support services. We have funded family support services for years. I have a history, on this committee, so I can tell you that they've been a vital part of our process for years and have done a great job. Both projects are good. Again, it came down to dollars, so I wish we could fund everything and make this process so much easier and have a bigger impact on Amarillo. Again, those are just our recommendations to you. And keep in mind that is in the public services category, so keep in mind any change that you make from our recommendations, you're going to have to make an offsetting change in order to fund it, because the HUD will not allow you to go over that cap.
We have to reduce one if we have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Other questions from the commission?
Thank you.
We appreciate your presentation. It is a difficult choice that these people make. We appreciate what you do and your efforts in the community. Thank you. Any other comments from the audience? Anyone else? Yes, Mr.
Yes. My name is Jack Levi Jewett, with 5400 Keystone. I'm Jackson Family Taxi. I want to thank the police department for bringing this to our attention. I want to thank Channel 10 News for helping us, and I want to thank our city commission.
We're actually on a different agenda item now.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
I apologize.
At the end, there'll be time for public comment. We'll welcome you back.
Long time.
Thank you. That's okay. That's okay. We get confused up here about where we are. We understand. I understand. Are there any other questions about this? Any other proposals from commissioners? Certainly.
Well, I take this opportunity, James, to thank you and your committee for hard working. And for those in the audience not connected to some of these agencies, and I think nearly everybody in the audience is, but this was an example of some of the decisions that they have to make. The counseling service coming from Catholic Family Services, family services, and then the Western Community Center. And we have limited dollars, and within that category, I can't pull out another category and put it into this one, so everything has to come within that category. And that's why I think that these people on this committee have such a tough job, because number one, they get requests for more money than they have, but all the requests that they get are worthwhile, great projects for our community. It's a tough service that they do. And anyway, I appreciate it so much for that hard work and those tough decisions.
Commissioner.
I have noticed this year you were kind enough to put how the votes fell out on those. And you can see that even among your own committee, rarely did you agree. And that separates the wheat from the chaff. And certainly as new funds come in, I know and I've seen over the years, you're open to considering new projects. And certainly if it begins to rain, these other projects could be considered in the future. But I too want to thank, and especially city staff, Vicki, and her community development department, and Dion back there at the back, wave at everybody. They're critical to the process, and I do just want to thank all of you. And you've got your committee members here too. Thank you so much for what you do every year. Thank you.
and constantly, year after year, they are short of requests about $1 million in what they can fund. So these questions become critical, very difficult debate, and if you attend one of those meetings, you'll see the difficulty. You hear the different viewpoints, you get to hear from the agencies as each of these are presented. The agencies come up several times over a period of time, and it is not a simple process, but we very much appreciate it. Really relieves this commission of a tremendous amount of background work to take your recommendations on that. So we thank you all, and thank the participants for continuing with this process when you know it's going to be difficult and how hard it's going to be. So, any other comments from the floor or from the commission? I entertain a motion.
Well, I applaud the work that Family Support Services does. We only have $318,558. I don't feel as if I can take money, we can take money away from one organization to give to this. So with that, I move that we approve the list as presented for the 2011-2012 annual action plan of the consolidated plan for housing and community development.
Second.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with a 5-0 vote. Thank you all for your participation in this. Next item is the consent agenda, and letter A would be award sulfur dioxide annual contract. B is award phase 2 bus stop improvement contract. C is award mower utility cart purchases. D is approval of Potter County Wellfield Collection System change order number 3. E is approval of the Hazel Echo Tower site lease amendment. F is the approval license and hold harmless agreement. G is the dedication acceptance of drainage easement. Are there any items on the consent agenda that would be separated for consideration by the commission? If not, are there any comments from the commission or from the audience about the consent agenda? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second for the consent agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, this concludes the regularly scheduled agenda for the Amarillo City Commission. We'll move back into executive session when this is concluded. However, it's customary at this time to allow citizens of this community with matters pertaining to city policies, programs, or services to speak to the commission. And the floor is now open for that comment. Does anyone like to make a comment about today's meeting?
Is this the right time?
It's the right time.
Yes, this is it. Thank you. Come on down.
My name is Jack Levi Jewett. I live at 5400 Keystone Drive. I'm Jack and Son Family Taxi, and I want to thank the police department for bringing an old ordinance to light that nobody's known about for a long time. I want to thank Channel 10 News for helping us, and most of all, I want to thank our committee for doing a good job, because our community is a good community. This is my home. I love this town. It took me 23 years that I've been here. It took me 20 years to get here. So I enjoy this place. It's home to me, and it's home to everyone that I've met. I would recommend it to anyone to make a home.
Mr. Jewett, thanks for your participation in our commission and pointing out something that needs corrected.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other comments? Yes, ma'am, if you'd come forward, I think you had your hand raised first. If you would give your name and address, ma'am, please.
My name is Beatrice Herron, and right now I'm in the shelter at the Salvation Army. I'm glad to be here in Amarillo, Texas. I've been here for about 6 months, and I walk a lot, and I see a whole lot of stuff out here in the community that need to be taken care of. First, I'm going to start with the city bus over there, our bus station. A lot of people, a lot of the homeless people hang out over there. And I've seen the city of Amarillo come over there to clean up. And to me, they're not doing a good job. It's a lot of cigarette butts down there. If you go over there, you will probably find about 200 or 300 cigarette butts on the ground. They're taking the lawn and just using it for garbage, for a cigarette lighter. I mean, you know where they put the cigarette butts, the butts. And I've spoken up a couple times about it, and I think it's not right, and I want to tell you all about it. Also, out to Martin Park, it is so filthy nasty out there. It's got all kinds of buggies and garbage out there in the garbage, in the water, and the pond itself is just got a lot of debris in it. And just all up down the alley, all the alleys across Amarillo Boulevard is full of paper and garbage. And also I noticed on Amarillo Boulevard, some of the light poles, like they've been hit by cars. And I just want to report this to you all, that's all. That's what I'm just here for. I've never been to a meeting, but I told the Lord, I said, I want to come to one because it's just things that I see that you all don't see, and I know that's my job. I love the Lord's earth too, and I want to report back.
You know, the city spends a tremendous amount of money cleaning those up, and it's hard to stay ahead of it. The cigarette butts, I wish people would clean them up themselves instead of throwing them on the lawn.
Yeah.
Or quit smoking, too. I wish they'd quit smoking, but...
I said maybe you could put signs down to remind them not to throw it at least on the grass.
Sure. And in the lake at Market Park and the other areas, we'll look at that, and we'll consider what you said. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Any other comments? Yes, sir. And your family? Is this your family with you?
This is my daughters, my 3 daughters.
Great. Can you give us your name and address?
My name is Derek Henry, 6801 Achieve. We're here today. There's several people in the audience that is with High Plains Fast Pitch, which is a girls fast pitch, softball fast pitch organization. We're here today to show our presence and get it before the commission about the master plan that the city has and the plans that the High Plains Fast Pitch has given the city for a facility for our girls High Plains Fast Pitch. This is a great time for us to be here. We just returned from Odessa, Texas for the All-Star Tournament, which was represented of players from High Plains Fast Pitch. Girls Fast Pitch has got over 700 participants that play spring and fall softball. At the present time, the city has provided us with 2 regulation girls softball facilities, which is at Thompson Park. You can understand our difficulty with having 700 girls trying to play at 2 fields. We compete with men's and mixed softball leagues for the city fields, which is extremely difficult. The girls fast pitch field dimensions are different than adult softball leagues. We participated in Odessa for the All-Star Tournament this weekend. There was over 100 teams representing West Texas. You take 100 teams with 12 players apiece. There was well over $2.4 million spent in Odessa over this weekend. This tournament rotates between Odessa, Midland, Lubbock, and San Angelo, I believe. Amarillo cannot be in the running for any kind of tournaments, state or all-star tournaments, because we don't have the facilities. And I feel really bad being up here asking the commission to allocate this money. There is a lot of people that have needs for money in these hard financial times. But I would like the commission to consider this as an investment. If you take one weekend of softball for these girls that brings in $2.4 million into your city, it would be a great investment for the city if everybody could just work together. It's not only one tournament. We can. There's many teams in Amarillo that travel to Lubbock, Midland, the Oklahoma area on a weekly basis. We're taking our money out of this area to participate because we do not have the facilities here. And I don't know if the commission is aware of Title IX, which should provide all kids the equal access to activities. The boys have their own facility at Rick Klein's, a very nice facility. Our girls have 2 little fields at Thompson Park that we have to share. So we're here. We have a couple of board members with High Plains Fast Pitch. These girls are all representative of High Plains Fast Pitch. So we want to bring that before the commission. And And I have a lot of thoughts on way we could, we could get sponsorships. If we could get something going on the fields, put it out there. We have a tremendous amount of money in this area, people that donate money. We could have sponsorships for, certain fields or certain events, but I'd like for y'all to look at it as an investment into the community because it does bring in money. It's not that you're just going to put out the money for the fields and that's it. If we provide the proper fields where we can bring in these tournaments, you're very well looking at over $2 million a weekend, and that goes into the tax revenue, the AEDC, the money that can be put back into the community.
Senator, would you introduce your daughters, please?
This is Ryan Henry. She's going to be playing, starting High Plains Fast Pitch this year. This is Riley Henry. She is on my team. This is my middle daughter. She's 11 years old. She plays it. Right now we're moving into the 12U league. And this is my oldest daughter, Reagan Henry, and she will also be playing in the 12U league.
Okay. Would the other members please stand up for this? I guess you'd second that motion, wouldn't you?
Yes. And also, softball is getting to be quite the sport here in the Panhandle. Oklahoma City holds the Girls College World Series every year. We're real close to all the activity. I just hate to see all of our money continuously going out of town and money that can be brought into town, and then the city can use that money for other needs that the city, can put that to.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to ask the city manager to maybe give us a report in the future about what our plans are with this and what we can and can't do, and we'll talk to you again about it. You're welcome to give me a call at any time, and maybe we can sit down and get some more details. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. Young ladies, good luck with your softball. Any other comments from the audience? Yes. Mr. Johnson, if you give your name, everybody may not know you, your name and address.
Jimmy Johnson, 4460 Ridgecrest Circle, Amarillo. I have two businesses here. I own DJ's Hamburgers, Royal Limousines. But we're fixed to change renters of DJ's Hamburgers, and we had a sign up out front of DJ's that blew down. And I've got a guy from out of town. He's not in the city limits, but he's going to come in and reestablish another burger business there. Well, last time I put this sign up so he'd have a place to put his specials for the day and all that out front of his business. Well, I come in Friday, and I was informed if I want to put that sign back up, I got to get a bond if I want to put it up. Pay a $35 permit. I have been self-employed in the city of Amarillo since 1985. I think I own that property. The city of Amarillo does not own it. I pay taxes on it every year. I really got a shock when I can't put up a sign. This sign ordinance is went way, way out of bounds. It's not no longer business friendly. When a small man starts a business and he's working on a tight budget, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, there's a lot of money. And the only person that can put up that sign is a sign company. If you look at my big sign down there, that used to be 3 upright Texaco posts sitting there with a beam across. I invested $12,000 in that sign. Made it presentable. I don't have those 3 posts sticking up anymore. I would like to put my sign back in front of DJ's. It's been there for 40-something years. They put it in there with metal posts. They didn't cap them. So it rusted off right at the top of the ground and the wind blew it over. So DJ's is a pretty big business in Amarillo. It brings in a lot of money. I don't get it. I just rent the building, but it brings in a lot of money. So I really think we need to revisit this ordinance about signs because it's not very business friendly. I bought that property down there is a junk pile. There's an old canopy land out there where they took out the tanks. I had to get a scrap dealer to come by and cut it up. He cut it up and removed it for me with the scrap. I worked 18 years on that property, trying to make it as nice as I could make it with what I had to make it with. And I really believe that we need to back up and not cater to the sign companies in Amarillo, but just cater to all the business people in Amarillo that need the slightest little sign. You gotta come down here and talk to somebody. If you gotta use a car lot, you gotta come down here every time you want to change your sides and windows of your cars. This is way out of bounds. I would like for us to get this back on the agenda and let's get this thing reversed.
Well,
Please.
Mr. Johnson, I will tell you that I'm an advocate of revisiting that and looking at some of the details of the sign ordinance that I think personally are too picky. I would tell you that I don't think it needs to be reversed. We have to have some sort of sign ordinance. For instance, one of the sentences in the prior sign ordinance said no electronic signs in the city of Amarillo. So it was pretty antiquated. It wouldn't work. It needed to be worked on. I'm asking that some retail people participate in this group, and I've already got a list of names, and we will go back and look at it again. And with any ordinance, we're always willing, as Mr. Jewett is a witness to, we're always willing to relook at those and see what things need to be adjusted. But we don't need to reinvent the wheel. I would not agree with that. We need to look at some things.
Change the spokes in it.
Well, and I think that maybe from a business standpoint, when franchisees can't put, McDonald's and others can't put signs in their windows without incurring some problems, we need to look at that. But I also think that it needs to be tougher in some ways. I, for instance, am not an advocate that if I have certain qualifications, this is me personally, but I think that we should grandfather in old signs ad infinitum. They should at some point have to be fixed. It may be a long period of time, but I think some things need to be easier and some things need to be tougher. So we'll look at that and certainly get your input. I've got a group of people that have said they'd help, and I think the city manager has sent me a list of the old people that worked on that committee, and we'll look at that again.
Now, see, the sign companies, they get the business of reskinning my billboard up there every time I reskin it to the tune of about $4,000.
Well, we can't discuss it further here. I can't ask for the commissioner's comments, but there certainly will be comments. People will differ on this subject, but we will restudy it and relook at it.
My sign I'd like to put up is 4x8 on 4-inch posts, steel posts. And it was there. I can show you where the post broke off the top of the ground. I would like to put this sign back up. And I don't think I should pay no fee to put my sign up on my property. Because everybody knows that piece of property knows it was dumped when I bought it. So you need to praise me and thank me instead of trying to make it difficult.
Jimmy, I know you keep your property nice, but everybody does not. And I can show you a lot of signs on other pieces of property that are pretty trashy, and they're not adequate for what it should be. So we have to find a compromise that deals with both sides of this, and that's, I think, what the commission was doing before. But I do think some more representation from the retail committee would help. If we could put that aside, or if you'd like to come and talk to me individually, I'd be happy to sit down with you and talk to you about some of your ideas. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. Like I said, I've been in this for 18 years, and like today, I just got through with Golden Spread Electric. Most of you people don't even know what I bring to Amarillo. I drove people like Margaret Thatcher, John Bowler, Patrick Swayze. The list goes on. Over 300 people in the last 22 years.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for the comment. Any other comments from the audience? If not, we'll go back into executive session. We thank you for your participation in the meeting today. Thank you.